Hello to the two fans and welcome! This is Chicago Ted coming to you live with the AD2L. This is part of my Golden Replay Cast series, although not officially, since this is actually a live game going on right now. And as such, we are running with a 2-minute delay, but we're going to be recording and putting this up like all the rest. So thank you for joining me. If you're catching this live, if you're catching the replay, I hope you enjoy the next couple of minutes. But for right now, it is going to be Thundercats versus the Discoverers. And, well, the draft is well underway. Let's get rolling. It's going to be the Undying and Quad ban out by the Thundercats. Bloodseeker already gone for the Discoverers. I can't say I'm surprised by that. One almost imagine a Tusk would be banned out too, but no, it's going to be the Techies. Tusk is left in the field. Plenty of other really flavor of the month and powerful heroes are left in the field. Leshrac, obviously being one of them, we'll see the first pick up. And, I mean, this guy offers so much in terms of team fight, you know, with the magical burst that he can end up doing, as well as sustained magic damage he does towards the later portions of the game. Now, one of the main things about the Leshrac, and he is one of those heroes that gets pretty countered by things like the BKBs, mostly because, again, that's mostly all he is magical damage. He can build right-click, but it doesn't really culminate to much. So, usually if you can grab a couple of quick and early BKBs, you should be fine versus him. But the other thing is killing him, which can get pretty difficult if he starts building into the Bloodstones and has a pretty substantial amount of HP and regen to back him up, as well as suiciding whenever you try to get on him. But he requires having some other some backup, as in the form of any sort of real right-click physical damage carry. I mean, again, if you build a team that's very magical based, you want some physical, because once the magical starts tapering off, you know, you go against BKBs, as mentioned, Pipe of Insights, you get for higher and higher magical resistance through items or otherwise, then it starts getting really very difficult for Leshrac to do anything. So you pair that up with something like a Tusk, which will give a lot of great physical damage, but also any real carry. I'm talking the Lunas, I'm talking the Svens, the Ursas, the Tinies, whatever you want. Any real carry that can start to say, okay, you give me that space in the Leshrac, and I will give you 6 slots by 30 minutes and a whole hell of a lot of physical damage, so that no matter what they buy, no matter how many BKBs they get, they will never be able to stand up to the damage we can output. And then you split up their focus, you make them choose between which hero they want, and bada bing, bada boom, you win the game. So Discoverers are going to go ahead and premiere with a Crystal Maiden Silencer, and a pretty potent combo as far as roaming and ganking supports go. Silencer ends up doing a lot of magical damage in the early game. Crystal Maiden with plenty of lockdown and slow. Every early kill that you net this Silencer is incredibly important, whether it be, you know, on your Leshrac, which reduces his mana pool, and that's huge. I mean, Leshrac so heavily relies on that mana pool to do everything. Even Tusk, being a strength hero but relying on his spells to operate, needs to build into that higher mana pool, and you take that away from him, you kind of gimp the hero at its core. So if they can find some early ganks, get some early kills for the Silencer, and steal plenty of intelligence from some of these heroes, then this is going to be a very potent pick. The Silence is also really great against Leshrac and Tusk in general. I mean, again, casters need to cast, and if they don't let them cast, then they don't do anything. So
5 seconds.
That is going to be a pretty major thing that they pick up here.
Dyer's ban.
It's going to be a tiny ban out. AM will get taken away by the Thundercats. A lot of these one-position carries are going to start seeing a little bit of hate now. Again, because you've got all these supports, you've got all these kind of semi-cores coming out of the field. You kind of want to get rid of the people that they create space for. So naturally, those are anti-mages. Anti-mage being thought of typically as the counter to Leshrac or any real snowballing mana-intensive mid-hero. So Leshrac, Storm Spirit, to a certain extent, an Outer World Devourer. And that sort of... Medusa's a pretty huge one as well. Medusa and Terrorblade, anyone that builds into a lot of stats. These are heroes that anti-mage loves to face because they build huge mana pools, only to have them drained in no time at all, and then boom, 1 mana void, rampage, easiest 1,000 to 2,000 gold of the
Radiant's
Animage's
ban.
life. So gets taken away. Tiny's a little bit more interesting of a ban out from the Discoverers. I mean, I guess he falls along that same line as that right click, and I did mention him as one of those heroes that can follow up from the
10
space that
seconds to
Leshrac
go.
and Tusk can give. But I almost imagine that the Thundercats could do a little
5
bit better
seconds.
as far as their carry goes. Someone who stands alone a little bit more in the fray. And
Reserve time.
I mean, Tiny's a great hero, don't get me wrong. But as far as heroes that need to be 6-slot to be effective go, Tiny's a pretty perfect example of that. I mean, Snowball's pretty well in the early game, but that's only because of the magical damage that he can output. And if you want to build into his right click, you got to invest so
Radiant's
much
pick.
gold into things like attack speed to even make him a little bit viable in that regard. But Phantom Lancer, a little bit more of a common ban out being taken from the Discoverers, making sure that that snowballing right clicker is gone out of the fray. And Thundercats are going to go ahead and take out the Lena. Now, Lena's kind of an interesting one. I guess when you look more along the lines of Tusk snowballing in, Lena has
10
one of the better
seconds to
stuns
10
against
seconds to
it
go.
because of the AoE nature of it against multiple heroes in the
5
snowball.
seconds.
But Discoverers, they've got the Silencer, they've got the Crystal Maiden. I guess they could have banned out the mid
Dyer's
Lena, but
pick.
Zeus is going to be taken away or taken into the fray. Discoverers opting to pick him up, going for a little magic of their own. Now, I don't quite see Zeus as a really potent hero against Leshrac Tusk combo. Tusk will be able to just go straight on in. Winter Wyvern
Radiant's
comes
pick.
out from the Thundercats. A whole lot of flavor of the month coming out from these guys, and I almost imagine they're going to go with something like an Earthshaker next, just to follow along the lines of these really, really powerful heroes that they're drafting up. And you grab something like an Earthshaker, and then you can get away with the most greedy carry you choose, because Winter Wyvern operates sort of like an Omni Knight, but a little bit better in lane.
10
An
seconds to
Earthshaker
go.
can roam around the map, help find kills, destroy a
5
Zeus.
seconds.
And, I mean, it's a great hero to have. Now, I'm not totally
Reserve
sure.
time.
Again, against the Silencer things, if they don't work out, Earthshaker could really suffer. But Thundercats, they go for the bird of
Dyer's
their
pick.
own. And they say, we're going to fight ice with fire and pick up the Phoenix. So a lot of, again, more magical damage. Not really any direct counters, I don't think, that Phoenix would be viable versus. However, again, the fact that the Thundercats don't really have that hard right clicker out just yet really makes the Supernova that much more powerful. If they're not able to destroy the
10
egg,
seconds to go.
then how can you hope to destroy the Phoenix is essentially what I think
5
they're
seconds.
getting at
5
here.
seconds.
BKBs are going to be pretty important, or just pick yourself up a Huskar and
Radiant's
then
pick.
nullify every single hero on the Discoverer's lineup. That works too. Almost every single hero, rather. Silencer does have a pretty good kit versus the Huskar, whether if he can snowball out of control and get a lot of early intelligence, but
10 seconds to go.
can only get so far if you don't get fed kills once every couple of minutes and
5
get a whole
seconds.
lot of intelligence stolen off of that. Thundercats, though, with the Huskar, doesn't exactly
Reserve time.
use space to farm, but is typically thought of as a more space creator-based hero, and I think Thundercats are not really going for that hard late game. Rather, they're just going for a whole lot of
Dyer's
mid
ban.
to early game dominance, and they've drafted up a couple of really good heroes versus that. So I almost imagine Discoverers may have drafted their lanes a little bit too weak right now, because they don't have much to deal with the snowball,
10
quite
seconds
literally,
to go.
of the Thundercats lineup. And of
5
course, a lot can
seconds.
change as we start to see how these lanes roll out. But for right now, looking at it from the top down, I'm almost
Reserve
liking
time.
Thundercats draft a whole lot more because of what they offer here. So just a very well-rounded early game dominant draft that is designed to win lanes and not give any space away for the enemy to even come
Radiant's
back.
pick.
Like we're looking at the Discoverers having to go late game unless they pick up a really mid-game oriented carry, but even then their lineup might not be the best drafted to, or maybe they go for something who can 5-man. I mean, the Spectre would have been a really great pick just because she can 5-man just by popping her ulti, then get right back to farming. I think something like that is what they're going to need. A hero that can transition between the
10
farming and
seconds
fighting
to go.
incredibly well. Now that Anti-Mage is gone, now that Spectre is gone, not a lot of
5
heroes
seconds,
fit the
5
bill for
seconds.
that. And it's going to be interesting to see what they go ahead and pick up here, because
Reserve
I
time.
almost imagine they're having the same trouble I am as thinking of what kind of hero they want to
10
grab to put
seconds
in
to
this
go.
lane, because they're just afraid. And Wraith King is a decent one.
Dire's
Doesn't
big.
exactly take the game late, but given enough space in the early game, he can be a very big monster. However, he might struggle against the likes of the Winter Waver and against the Lishrak. I mean, against everyone on the Thundercats, but the fact that he has 2 lives allows him to get up front and start tanking whatever Tusk and Huskar have to throw at him and
10
get rid of those
seconds
out of
to
the
go.
fight, so that the rest of the team can come in, the Crystal Maiden, the Silencer, and just
5
drop
seconds.
everything. So I think this the thing we're going to have to look out for here from the
Reserve
Discoverers
time.
is the Wombo combo, sort of. I mean, Global Silence, Supernova, and Freezing Field. I think the Thundercats have a really good lineup to deal with that if they can get it off, though. So it's going to be very interesting, as I said, to see how this game starts to progress. But this is going to be a best-of-2 series, so whatever does happen in this game is a pretty big learning experience, and I couldn't agree with this pick more, by the way. 3 intelligence heroes, all which are going to get destroyed by the Nyx Assassin, either with the mana burn or just by the fact that the Nyx can go behind the fight and start screwing with people as they're trying to get whatever they can off or just trying to stay alive. So in terms of who wins the draft, I got to lean a little bit more towards the Thundercats, but as far as the game goes, we'll have to see how the lanes start to progress here. So
Everybody
for
get
the
set.
Thundercats, it is going to be on the Winter Wyvern, Baddest Turtle Esquire. Gampod will be playing the Nyx Assassin with Savage on the Huskar. We have Hoyana Kapak playing the Tusk, and last but not least, it's Snarf, our donator, going to be playing the Lishrak. Meanwhile, for the Radiant, for the Discoverers, it is going to be Killer 370 on the Zeus with Cotton Swabber on the Silencer. Stin the bottom, going to be playing the Phoenix with Lee on the Crystal Maiden. And Now I'm Gonna Starve, playing that ever so potent and ever so mercurial Wraith King. So no longer the
30
Pure of
seconds to
Bones,
showtime.
rather the green skin, kind of not an orc. Something, whatever he is, a Wraith. Fine, we'll go with that. So it looks like the bottom lane, the bottom rune, will go the way of the Discoverers. I think there's going to be very little to contest them. Hoyana Kapak is down here, and he's going to try to man up against this Crystal Maiden, but realizes that he might not be in the right territory here, so I think he's going to back off, give away this rune without so much of a fight. But in the top lane, they're going to go ahead and get a Curse of the Silent off, but a stun comes through, taking a lot of damage from this. Savage is actually going to continue chasing, dropping 1. Can he get 2? Does he have boots? He does not. He's moving pretty fast. 300 MS to the 295 Silence. He's actually going to get this kill. Cotton Swabber decides to try to juke in through the trees instead of continuing to run into the secure support of the Phoenix. And that's going to be first blood going the way of this Huskar. That is, that's problematic. Not a first blood you really want to be giving away, especially to a Huskar. So as that progresses, Husk is going to go ahead and get back to his lane. In the mid, it's going to be the Lishrak versus Zeus. Pretty standard. We expected this sort of thing. Duel off versus duel safe coming out from both the Thundercats and the Discoverers. It's going to be Wraith King Crystal Maiden, which is a pretty decent combo. Crystal Maiden almost operating like a Keeper of the Light, giving mana, pretty much free mana to whoever needs it. This lane's going to be very difficult to deal with, though, as Tusk and Nyx Assassin, having both the Snowball and the Impale, are really, really 2 amazing aggressive heroes. So same can't really be said again about the Phoenix and the Silencer here, as I'm not totally sure they'll be able to do anything really potent in this lane, especially against a Huskar. Winter Wyvern might see a little bit of trouble, but if you can cold embrace herself, it's going to be pretty much all for naught as Huskar comes in, drops a little bit of Burning Spears out, and, I mean, the rest will be history. So Zeus not doing too hot in the mid lane. Seems like he wants to get a little harass off into Snarf, but ends up taking a whole lot on his own and having to step back for a bit. His bottle is purchasable, and He should be picking it up. He does pick it up. It's going to be coming out to him. No one to cancel the courier, so he'll have a little bit more sustain in this lane. As far as where we're going for the other guys, I mean, now I'm going to start. Decides to start off with the Quelling Blade. Going to secure some last hits off that. I do not think that'll be built into a Battle Fury, though, so probably just a casual Quelling Blade, securing him some extra farm, especially against the Nyx Assassin, who has gone for the Mango and the Stout Shield, so he's regenning pretty fast, 4.2 base. Horiana Capac has found an invisibility rune. Is going to come up through the mid lane, and this actually could be a kill on a Killer for 370. If he can step onto the low ground one more time, Horiana's waiting for it, but Killer backs himself off. Almost imagine that missing calls might be coming out from his team right now. Almost very, well actually I think they spotted this. They did. Killer should know about this one. Looks like he does. He's staying safe, not really going up to the creep wave, and waiting for Horiana Capac to go ahead back to his lane, show his face before he starts getting back up, and nope, he's going to go pretty aggressive right now. Alright, interesting maneuver there. So as far as these Curse of the Silence go, it doesn't quite look like many of them are landing. Savage taking a little bit of damage though. I mean, he's at 250 HP right now. But both of them are very healthy in terms of their mana pools. Curse of the Silent, that's a true telling sign that these curses haven't been really landing as much as he'd want them to. In fact, Cottonswabber's in a lot of, taking a lot of damage here. He's trying to dash out a little bit on the Savage. They get the damage over time, and this should be a kill. Curse of the Silent, though, ending, and all that magic damage just falling to the wayside. Huskar with the extra 5%, or I guess 5 times whatever the hell he's got, 55% plus extra mana magic resistance, stays alive and kicking. Very unfortunate for the Radiant side. They're trying so hard to bring down this Huskar, only to see it go pretty much unsubstantiated here. So as far as the lanes go, we're still only 1 kill into this game. Killer looks like he's going ahead and bottle crowing, but one more lightning storm and he's just going to fall down here in the mid lane. Meanwhile, Snarf able to go ahead and use runes to keep his bottle full. Just dominating this lane, it seems like 23-7 to the 8-0 of the Zeus. That is a huge CS disparity here in the mid lane, and really showing as Zeus, I think, is struggling to keep up with the Lishrak. Level 4 to Lishrak's level almost 6 right now, and Zeus will go ahead, find himself a haste rune. Maybe this is where he can start turning this around, find some extra experience, and potentially get a kill off this, but maybe is a strong word. Going to be completely up to how the game flows to see if he actually is able to pull it off. So, again, just keeping up with the CS right now. It's going to be the 19-1 for the Wraith King. He's doing pretty well as far as carries go. Savage, I can't really say the same about him. He's 10-0. Being a ranged carry, sort of, I guess, quotes around carry, he should really be farming a hell of a lot better than he is, but there has been a lot of pressure out on this lane. You see these Curse of the Silence definitely not helping them out as far as their mana drain goes, and even their HP drain is a little more subtle on a hero like a Huskar, but still, it can stack up. And if you can keep them down to about 250 HP, then that really leaves them vulnerable to those pure damage right clicks that you might be able to get off later on. So Killer with a haste rune. They're going to go ahead and onto Horiana Capac. In goes Gampod, trying to do what he can to protect his Tusk, but the Snowball comes out, trying to keep him alive. Killer's going to go in for the kill, though. Finds his level 5 in the meantime, and still falling behind this Lishrak in terms of levels. Gold as well. We can take a look at his net worth, and he's almost about 1,000, I guess more like 600 gold behind the Lishrak, but that kill is much needed as he wasn't finding exactly what he needed to from that mid lane alone. It also helps get a lot of pressure on Horiana Capac, but that might be all go to naught here as they're going to go ahead snowball into Now I'm Going to Starve. Doesn't have his level 6 just yet, wouldn't have enough mana for it anyway. The Ice Shards comes out, blocks him in. Does Horiana have enough of snowball? It's going to be out in 10 seconds. Crit Lee is going to go ahead with the Frostbite, keeps the Nyx back, and while that's happening, the top lane, Snarfstark makes his way up top. Cottonswabber's in a lot of trouble. They're going to go ahead. Savage still alive, still kicking. 12 HP. Can he be brought down? 7, 10. No, the Cold Embrace and all that magic resistance. 66% almost, I think, hit around 70% as that was going on. What
towers getting the business.
a tanky hero, especially versus all this magic damage. And we talked about this one in the draft, just how he'd be able to sit, take it, and not have to worry about it, especially after that silencer is gone. They've got no more real damage to come out to bring him down, and that's 2 going down the top lane, twice the amount that the Zeus got when he went and ganked the bottom. And I mean, for every little bit that the Zeus is getting, the Leshrac is almost easily taking it twofold. So he might be a little bit of a problem. 1,600 gold right now. That's setting up for a pretty damn early Bloodstone if he continues along this path. I mean, 41 CS right now at 7.5 minutes. We take a look at his net worth, 3350. The Bloodstone, of course, costing a grand total of 4,900. So as far as his gold goes, minus boots, the wand, he's looking really good. And I almost imagine if he farms the same way at 14 minutes, he'll have that Bloodstone. 14, maybe 15. So Killer sitting in the mid lane. They've got Stin the button, grabbing a regen rune. But these 2 supports don't really look like they're making a real effort to gank this one. Instead, Crystal Maiden smoked up, but what's the Leshrac and a Zeus going to do? Or, sorry, a Crystal Maiden and a Zeus going to do against the Leshrac? All he needs to do is turn, drop down with a Pulse Nova, maybe a Split Earth, a couple Lightning Storms, and that Crystal Maiden's dead. Maybe even the Zeus, both being very squishy heroes. The pings come out, though. They know he needs to die. They just don't quite know how they're going to do it. Lee, though, does the run around. He still wants to make this turn onto Snarf, who's staying on the high ground right now. Dropping down all of his items to heal up more with this bottle. You can see the extra int going down. Lee comes in, though. There is going to be a Frostbite, but this is pretty out of sync with his ally. Now, he will still go down. They had the Thunder God's Wrath, a level 4 Lightning Bolt. And even though the Arc Lightning's still level 1, it did enough damage to follow that one up and grab the kill. That was huge coming out from this game. Lee, I guess, with just a Frostbite and a Frost Nova, that was all she needed. Gampod, though, he's looking and he's got the Vendetta ready, but he got spotted out by the tower at the last second. Not like it would have really mattered. Both the Zeus and Lee were back far enough to not die to that. So 3 for 3 is what it turns out to be right now, but that was a very big win for Discoverers there in the mid lane. I almost want to say that secured them a lot of much needed net worth, especially on their Zeus, who is still about 500 gold behind, but doing a little bit better than where he was. He's 3-0 to the Leshrac's 1-1. So as far as CS goes, yes, Leshrac's winning, but Killer, again, is catching up both in net worth, both in experience. And with Cotton Swabber coming in, maybe they can find another kill. They know they've got a lot of bursts. 20 seconds before the Thunder God's Wrath is back up again. And having the Silencer in for this kill, if they can get it this time, would be massive. Just trying to cut as much into the Shrac's mana pool as possible. I mean, he's got 952 mana, so I guess in the end it doesn't entirely matter, but... See, Curse of Silent comes out, trying to do what little damage he can. Pulse Nova doesn't get rid of that. They're going to put him with the last word. Lots of damage. They got the Thunder God's Wrath, and they will bring him down, and all the intelligence goes to Cotton Swabber. He gets the first 2 intelligence stolen of the game, and just like that, the Zeus, the squishy mid laner, has turned it completely on its head with a couple of choice ganks from his supports, and really is starting to find some solid foothold in this game. I mean, he's still now 300 net worth behind the Leshrac, but as far as experience goes, he's going to be pretty much caught up by the time the Leshrac comes back into this one. So very well played from the Discoverers. A couple of really great maneuvers out from them. Helps pull them back in a couple of lanes. Now they still have to worry about this top lane, while Savage is just dominating on farm. Even though really his net worth is falling behind the Wraith King, Huskar can do a lot more the earlier the game is with what Wraith King has. And I mean, this looks like Wraith King is going to go ahead and grab himself a Hand of Midas and maybe look... Oh, wait, no, that's a Maelstrom, sorry. Picks up the Mithril Hammer, and will have enough gold for that recipe very shortly. That's going to help him flash farm out through the jungle and elsewhere. This is pretty... I wouldn't say pretty standard, but pretty good build on the Wraith King, just because it, again, helps him farm out. In the top room, Killer might find himself a kill, but it looks like he's going to go ahead. Thundercatsb Wrath, but the Lightning Storm comes out. The Curse is silent, or rather the Global Silence comes, but it's a little bit too late, as Zeus will already have gone down by the time they really needed it most, and it's not exactly a kill you want to be giving. Now, it looked like he got close to bringing down the Tuskar, but Tusk, having that bottle, getting himself back up to a point where he doesn't die to the Thundercatsb Wrath, and I mean, ultimately securing a kill for his team there. Gampod, meanwhile, farming at the bottom lane. His net worth is looking pretty decent, especially for an off lane. Oh, hold on. In the top lane is going to be a kill going the way of Savage. A double kill going his way as Cotton Swabber also up there, dying pretty brutally to him. And this is already a finished armlet. I mentioned how this was going to be tough to deal with. His net worth was a little bit behind the Wraith Kings. Well, now Savage is leading the board and becoming more and more of a problem as time goes on. Meanwhile, Lishrak, after having died a couple of times, pulls himself right on back as he's now about 1,000 ahead of the Zeus and not looking to slow down anytime soon. You can see the damage that Zeus is able to output is really good, but this is another kill that's potentially going to happen. They're looking for a Split Earth. They've got the Walrus Punch. Now, unfortunately, it looks like the Split Earth had missed, and Snarsnarf only almost going down there because of it, but he will stay alive.
Radiant's mid tower.
Meanwhile, Killer does go down. Gampod, though, maybe wants to make an attempt down here in the bottom lane. Running out of Vendetta.
Radiant's
too little, too late.
Coming apart. Dire's bottom tower's getting the
So
business.
he'll back himself off. Meantime, Horanica Pack makes his way on in. Tag teaming out with the Nyx Assassin. Drops a ward and then turns right around. Doesn't look like they spotted out these stacks, but they do know that they're there with that ward vision that they're getting. Fact. Yeah, they've got perfect idea that this camp is stacked, but it's only a single stack. I'm not totally sure if that's something that they want to go ahead and waste on it. Meanwhile, Cold Embrace comes out onto the Winter Wyvern. They drop down with the Thunder God's Wrath, and it looked like the Phoenix wanted to come in and snipe the kill with a couple of spirits, but every single one of them was off the mark, and Badass Turtle Esquire gets himself away. Cold Embrace turning out to be a very, very good spell. Despite not blocking against the magical damage, it's still pretty damn good here. So as far as the farming goes, again, the top two being led by the Thundercats here, both Savaged and Snarstarf leading the board. Wraith King, now I'm going to starve, trying to keep up. He's got the Maelstrom, so he should be farming pretty quickly, but as far as Wraith Kings go, he's a pretty slow hero, not able to really blink around into the different camps and farm as quickly as something like a, like even, I guess an Anti-Mage is a pretty bad extreme to compare him to, but still the point stands. He's not going to be able to find as much farming as quickly, though. The Huskar is kind of in the same boat, moves a little quicker, but he's able to sustain and farm and find his farm really off of kills. He doesn't need the Blink Dagger to initiate. He just has his ultimate and can really go YOLO with just a Wraith King, an armlet. So it's going to be a 4-man gank up top. All of this magical damage, a little bit of pure coming out from Cotton Swab, but they're looking to try to exert some pressure out onto either Badass Turtle or Savage, but both of them get in the trees well away from any real problems, and they're actually going to go out with the Winter's Curse. They can bring down Killer almost immediately now. Curse of the Silent, a Global Silence comes out, and goes a Freezing Field as well, and the Supernova comes out, brings down 2. Cotton Swabber is there for both of them. A Snowball will come the way, but Freezing Field still going down, dealing decent damage before he finally ends, and Snarstarf might be in a little bit of trouble. Cotton Swabber not able to stay alive to get the intelligence from the kill. But it's a 4 for 3 is what it turns out to be. Crystal Maiden going down at the end, so no one really getting the experience for that. And all of that experience going the way of the Radiant pretty much. Now I'm going to start surviving all through that. And and a couple of really nice kill assists coming the way of Silencer as he pops out a lot of intelligence from
Dyer's
that.
top tower's getting beat down.
So we'll go ahead, push down the top tier 1 tower, and really might say that's about it for now, but that was a really good fight for the Discoverers, and these guys are really making me think twice about them, because every single time it seems like they're starting to take a bit of a disadvantage, you know, starting to fall behind, they come out with a really well-executed fight. Now, losing 3 obviously wasn't their best intentions there, but to be perfectly honest, given the way the game was going, I mean, and how much lead Thundercats had for a 15-minute game, that was a pretty great fight for them, so we'll have to look and see if they can go ahead and do that. The only downside is they weren't able to actually take down an objective, but they're putting pressure onto 2 lanes, and maybe they can go ahead, take another fight like that, and win it out. But I think for now, well, they've got Thunder God's Wrath up, actually, so they maybe will take a fight whenever the time seems right. I think they're going to go ahead and wait for this level 11 from the Wraith King, though, and try to go after that, but looks like they're going to go ahead, occupy their jungle. Killer doing fine to go ahead and try to farm that up as much as possible. He's looking pretty decent. It looks like he's going to be going for a Force Staff, which I heavily agree with. Maybe Force into Blink into or Eul Scepter. Both will be very great options for him. Damphead, though, going to go ahead and hit himself up with a Vendetta. Killer, no real idea he's there, but now they spot him out. He walks underneath a Sentry Ward, actually. Now they're going to pop out with a Dust. He's taking a lot of damage from this, so Thunder God's Wrath will come out. Now Freezing Field on top of the Snowball, and Horiana Capac gets himself caught in a really sticky situation. As he'll then go down, Lee, quite happy to say, I'll chill you out, I guess. Really great fight coming out again from the Discoverers there. Looks like they're sending Cotton Swabber into the middle lane, trying to find a level 11 of his own. He's got the 1-4-4 build, Curseless Silent. Doesn't seem to be a pretty popular spell nowadays, but the last word is certainly a really good amount of damage that you can output in the pure from the Glaives. Now starting to get a little bit prickly as, again, that 8 stolen intelligence. You can see 65 pure damage on top of his 99 to 100 damage right click is a pretty hefty amount of damage for what you draft it to be a sort of 4-position / support hero. So Lee's going to go ahead, occupy a little bit into the enemy jungle. They spot out this really aggressive warding coming out from Lee, though, with one of their own. Do they have really many sentries to deal with this? No, it doesn't look like it, though. They know that ward's there. They might just go ahead and find some sentries at this point. And they're dire. They know that there's an observer ward up here. It looks like Gampod, though, is baiting it out. He's going to go ahead with the Vendetta into the Impale. Now, Lee will go ahead with a Last Will and Testament on the Dust. Gampod TPing away. There's going to be a Global Silence coming out. One of the Flame Spirits hitting, and a Thunder God's Wrath actually coming out from Killer. Now, it looks like a Lightning Storm coming in from Snarfside. He's going to go in for the Splitter, but Killer moving a little bit too quickly. It's going to end up being Horiana Capac, though, to go down from a Wayward. Now I'm going to starve as Huskar will go ahead and bring down Cotton Swabber on the back lines. And it looked like Stin the Button wanted to try to get some vengeance for his silence, but wasn't quite able to find it. Ends up being a 2-for-2 after all is said and done, but kind of an interesting fight that came out from the dive here. Thundercats revealing their Dagon on the Nyx Assassin, and really not much else coming out of that one. There was a chorus and sort of support for, what, 2 supports on the side of Discover, so not a bad trade for the Discoverers. However, I think they need to get a little bit cleaner on some of their executions and not lose some heroes on the back of the fight, like what happened to the Silencer to Savaged, but can't really comment too hard on that because no idea what was going on back there. But every kill you give away is just one little bit of efficiency that you're kind of taking away from your fight, and if you can sort of clean that up, wipe it down with a fine-tooth comb, and really just not let it happen, then you can easily turn fights and completely dominate games. So just one thing for the Radiant to think about is just not letting these trades be full trades, rather just take advantages off of them. Gampod's going to go in. He's going to find Killer. Even though he was underneath the Sentry Ward for the majority of the time, Killer, Gampod rather, was just had a lot to his name in terms of damage and the like. So Gampod might be in a little bit of trouble, though. They got the Accursed Dive and the Flame Spirits out, but it's not going to be quite enough damage to scale up on him. The Cold Embrace healing him back up to a pretty sizable amount of HP, allowing him to take through that little bit of magical damage and get away relatively healthy. Veronica Pack, though, he's going to be aggressively Observer Warding, and unlike the Radiant, or unlike the Dire, unlike his own team, his wards will pretty much go uncountered, as I don't think the Radiant had any idea that those wards had gone up. Potentially this one, as they have a little bit of an Observer Ward right here, but that's about it. 13-13 is what it's going to end up being at 22 minutes in. The advantage is no real clear direction, although it's about 2,000, 1,000 golden XP respectively. Those are very small leads to have at 22 minutes, so for all intents and purposes, really the game is quite even. Savage might be in a little bit of... Oh, who am I kidding? He's a Huskar. He's not in any trouble at all. And it looks like Gampod makes his way on in. This could actually be a couple of kills going the way of the Thundercats if they're not careful. Stin the bottom. It comes out with a Vendetta, and Pale will miss just off the mark. In comes the Dagon as well. Gampod surviving a little bit. In from the Freezing Field, and they just bring him down. Cotton Swabber grabbing some nice intelligence off that. Savage trying to find the life break, but couldn't get quite close enough to seal the deal. And the Discoverers grab themselves a quick and easy pickoff here. So Cotton and Sin, they're going to go ahead and secure themselves in the top lane, ready to repel what push Thundercats have, though I'm not quite sure they'll be able to stand up to the full brunt of the Thundercats alone. They can try their best to slow them down. And then comes the last word. Just trying to force Savage back just a little bit. He'll cancel it with his Vitality. I'll bring him back up to a sizable amount of HP. Oh, in fact, it brings him up to full. And as it looks like now I'm going to Starve, he goes ahead, puts some pressure on the mid-tier 1 tower, forces a TP back from Snarf. This might be the A-OK for the Discoverers to try to find an effective fight here, but it looks like actually the target might be Veronica Pack. They go ahead, get the last word. All this damage coming out. They're going to go ahead with the Frost, or sorry, the Nova as well, and just a huge amount of damage that they were able to do. Look at Cotton Swabber with a 12 damage stolen, or 12 intelligence stolen, and hitting like an absolute truck, though. 104 damage is his base, plus the 90% into damage. He's got about 70, 80 int, so you can assume about 72 to 75 of that. He's hitting for a good 180 damage. And again, about 70 to 80 of that is pure damage, so really just showing some pretty big dominance for, again, that 4-position sort of support hero. They're going to rotate all 5 up, though. Now I'm going to Starve is there with a BKB. The rest of them kind of gathered around. They've got a Curse of the Silent, or sorry, a Global Silence out. They have a Freezing Field. They've got everything in terms of their ultimates. They could easily take a very effective fight right here. Couple Splinter Shots, getting Conswabber low. They're going to go in for a last word and a Curse of the Silent onto Savage. Snowball flies out. They spot it on Wraith King, but they could be in a little bit of trouble here if they continue chasing. Remember, he's got Reincarnate. He will. A Global Silence will pop, but then in comes the Silence. The Icarus Dive into the Supernova. Freezing Field as well, doing so much damage for Gampod. Will go ahead. He gets the Spike Carapace off, which cancels the Freezing Field. Savage could be in a lot of trouble, though, if and now I'm going to Starve can catch up, but it looks like he cannot. Snarf, though, gets himself caught out a little bit. They've got the Cold Embrace, but then comes a bit of lightning, courtesy of Killer, and they'll bring him down. Meanwhile, Savage will bring down Cotton Swabber. Kind of an interesting kill in the backlines there. Not quite sure what Cotton Swabber was doing that deep. But still, 1 for 3 is what it ends up being for the Discoverers. Thundercats just getting absolutely played in that fight. And again, they let the Wraith King get a go-ahead and get brought down just because that slow set up so perfectly into the rest of their combo. It was almost beautiful to watch. However, It does say a lot. I mean, the Global Silence, they need it to last a little bit longer just because the Nyx Assassin was able to get that spiked Carapace off and cancel the Freezing Field, which most definitely could have turned that into a full-fledged rampage for the Discoverers. But regardless, it was a pretty incredible fight, and I'm not sure the Crystal Maiden will be able to afford a BKB anytime soon, but once she is and that Spike Carapace no longer cancels the full duration of the Freezing Field, that's when things get very, very sticky for the Dire team, because even though they've got some pretty decent magic resistance on the Huskar, it's still a metric boatload of magical damage that comes out from this ultimate. I mean, 250 damage per explosion. I mean, think about that. I can't quite say just how many explosions there are. Every point, 1 seconds. A total of 100 explosions. Do the math. If you 250 damage times 100, and those can hit multiple units. Now, I know not each one hits. It's a wide AoE, and the explosion can happen anywhere. But just the amount of potential damage that it can output is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And even though Huskar survives, like 99% of that goes away, the rest of his team doesn't have that luxury. And even though, I mean, Leshrac builds towards a BKB, in fact, he is building towards one now, Tusk only has the cloak. Nyx doesn't have anything. Winter Wyvern has a cloak as well, but that's nothing like what you need versus, again, that 250 damage explosion. Jesus, that is so much that can be coming out from that Crystal Maiden. It's almost incredible to see. I mean, if you imagine, for some strange circumstance, right? If it were to happen like this, which it doesn't, but if it were to happen like this, that 5 heroes were to be caught within a freezing field, and every single one of those explosions hit, 250 damage times 5. Alright, so... Wow, I'm an idiot right now. 1,250 damage per explosion times 100. 125,000 magical damage outputted over the course of that ultimate.
A tribute.
Jeez. I don't know, man. That's just amazing. I could be looking at this completely wrong. I mean... You tell me what you interpret this to be. That's just crazy. Alright, so 18-14 is the score. 30 minutes in. I can almost imagine Discoverers have a little bit of a lead now. Just a touch. 2,000 experience, but the gold, give or take, is pretty much dead even. So it's up to the Discoverers to try to make use of this little bit of advantage they have. Now, Spike Carapace comes out from Gampop, but that's not going to protect him. He'll go down, and Cotton Swabber grabs the intelligence again. A total of 18 stolen from this game. He's also got an ultimate orb to his name, as well as the Force Staff. He is looking really, really good on the intelligence. 105. So a total of 90 damage just about for his pure buff there. On top of 130 that's already there, he's hitting incredibly hard. I mean, even his raw damage on the tower is looking pretty scary. The main thing, though, is that they got to keep him alive, but I'm pretty sure they'll have no trouble doing that. With that ultimate orb, he's starting to tank up quite a bit. And all he needs to do is grab himself something like a BKB or something along those lines, and he'll be absolutely golden. I mean, even the Force Staff is a really great item for him to have just because he can get away from the Huskar and just outmaneuver everyone there. So he's made his way up to the top lane. He's going to start farming like a Dickens here. 2,070 gold to his name right now. Is he going to be going? I don't know. Glaives of Wisdom, unique attack modifier. There's no way he's going for a Scotty. Perhaps he's going for a Scythe of Ice here, a Sheep Stick. I can almost imagine. I could see that's what he's going for right now. That or a Lincoln Sphere, but I mean, I'm not totally sure a Lincoln Sphere would be the way to go here. Maybe, especially when you're considering they've got the Life Break or the Curse of the Winter's Curse. both of those could be pretty good to break with a Lincoln Sphere. We'll have to see just what he wants to go out. The fact that he saved up about 2,000 gold and hasn't gone for something like a Perseverance, it means either buyback or he is going for that Scythe of Ice. A smoke in, though, from Hironica Pack. He wants to make his way, and he's going to get revealed into the three of them. Cotton Swapper, let's see how they can react from this one. Do they have a global silence? They will. They'll pop it out right now. Supernova comes through, and Hironica Pack will die almost immediately. Cotton Swapper laying into Savage will bring him down, or at least the first life. Now, he might go down to this curse, Winter's Curse. Savage comes back in. Killer taking a lot of damage, but they'll bring down Silent Savage. They're doing so much damage to him. The Pure going through, and they looks like they might be able to bring him down. They've got the last word. He is silenced up. He cannot cast what he needs to cast, and now they come through with that Pure damage. They'll bring him down. Snarf, though, looking to bring this one back. There's a 2 for 2 right now, but the Aegis was pot, making it effectively a 3 for 2. And it looks like the fight will end there. No one really looking to try to turn that around there, but the Wraith King not even dying there was a pretty big factor to it. Now, if he had died, I almost imagine they wouldn't have gotten a little bit more out of that because of the slow that's applied, but the fact they didn't die just leaves it up for the next fight, and Con Swabbler not dying, that was a very huge part of that fight. So now, looks like they're going to go ahead on the Gampai. He's going to go out with a Spike Carapace, but it doesn't matter. The damage is just too much, and another 2 intelligence going the way of Cotton Swabber. And he is just looking so damn unstoppable right now. It's almost like a Pudge. You just keep giving away kills, and he just keeps getting stronger almost indefinitely. And yep, he is going to go for that Sheepstick. Grabs an extra free 25 intelligence. I could do the math out right now, but I'll let you go for it. 140 intelligence, 166 damage. This guy is leaving Trucktown and approaching high-speed bullet train damage. Like, this is a guy you don't want to mess with. And all this extra that he's getting, like, he drops down the Scythe of Ice, and even though it doesn't break passives or evasion that's granted by passives, I believe it does break items. So evasion granted by things like a Heaven's Halberd will get broken by the Scythe of Ice. And that's just huge when you consider it. So he'll have that out right now, and even though he doesn't have buyback, he doesn't really care. 1,500 HP to his name, looking pretty decent. I almost imagine maybe he could go for something like a Rod of Atos just to help buff up his HP just a little bit. But a Curse of the Silent will fly out, deal a pretty significant amount of damage, but no right clicks to follow it up since, you know, Himon Kapak is just too damn fast right now. But look at that. Oh man, 128 pure damage per right click. 168 auto attack damage. So damn good. Zeus looks like he might be going for a BKB coming out right now with the Yoga Club pickup onto him. Phoenix has gone for that Heaven's Halberd, has a mech, that's about it. Lee might be going for either the Force Staff of her own or building into an Aghanim Scepter. Now, the beauty of having that one Staff of Wizardry is that you could go either way. So having that out is a pretty decent item here. Now I'm going to start, decides to go against the Blink Dagger and instead pick himself up a Shadow Blade. And he can build that into a Silver Edge. Now what he doesn't get from immediately blinking in and initiating into a fight, he does get from that extra right click damage. The passive will break Huskar from the Silver Edge, so that will absolutely destroy Huskar. Now if Huskar buys a BKB, well, that kind of falls to the wayside, as well as if he casts Light Break after the Silver Edge break goes down. But there are plenty of other times that the break can be applied that you just got to be mindful of, like waiting for the BKB to end, then popping Silver Edge and going in and right-clacking Huskar, or waiting for him to Life Drain or Life Break and then doing it. Whichever the case, there isn't one way to use a Silver Edge here. And honestly, in general, it's just a really great item versus Huskar. So now I'm going to Starve is doing really well. I mean, he's leading off the net worth board right now. And it looks like they're actually going to go ahead and find or try to find a kill via a smoke. They go in through the bottom river. They spot themselves in a Miz room, but taking it would probably be problematic. It will reveal the smoke, but it doesn't look like they were paying that much attention. I don't see any pings coming out. Gampod was waiting in Invis, maybe trying to block or reveal a smoke, but doesn't look like it was that successful. Now Killer will go in, reveals himself under tower, and that's about it. The Thundercats have every idea of what's going on. They back themselves off immediately, and then, well, that fight just kind of fizzles out a little bit. Killer, again though, being very aggressive. There's a lot of observer wards on the dire side of the map that he could probably deward and get a pretty decent chunk of change off of, but guessing where those wards are would probably not work out too well for him. First of all, he has to think that they've got wards in their jungle, 3 to be exact, and then use all the mana he needs to reveal himself under said wards, so give away his position, all sorts of good stuff that maybe wouldn't end up being a good idea in the long run. So, looks like 22-16 is where it will stay for a little bit. Neither team really looking forward to taking a massive fight, as Wraith King just content to continue farming up. He is, okay, going to be building towards that Silver Edge. He's got the Ogre Club for the Sange, which builds into that. Zeus still not totally sure what he's doing with this Ogre Club, though I'm very interesting again. I figure it's going to be a BKB. Crystal Maiden also still holding onto that one Staff of Wizardry. Lishrak, he's got that BKB long since completed with the Bloodstone, now going for a Plate Mail. Almost imagine that's a Shiva's. Meanwhile, Tusk has the Glimmer Cape, trying to help his allies stay alive. The Nyx only progressing on to the level 2 Dagon. That's about it, whereas Huskar has been farming alright. The Heaven's Halberd, the Armlet, and the Helm of the Dominator. Still looking for that BKB. He'll have it in a little bit of gold, just shy of 100. Winter Wyvern also going for the Glimmer Cape. So a lot of Glimmer Capes coming out from the Thundercats is going to make or break the next couple of fights if used correctly. And Discoverers have to be very, very mindful of this fact if they've either spotted them out on the enemy's inventory, or if they haven't, to for future reference, look for those kind of things on the enemy. Those are the kind of things that can immediately lose fights if you're not aware that the enemy has. Like having these extra dusts, having these extra ways to deal with the Glimmer Capes is absolutely imperative. And it looks like they've got 3 dusts and the Zeus, who of course reveals invisible units. So they got a lot, but as far as the magical damage reduction goes, that's going to be a pretty important thing having to go with this. So again, they've just got to be really, really careful of how this plays out. Looks like the Thundercats are looking for a smoke right now. Discoverers might also be too, as Crystal Maiden Lee picks up a smoke of his own, but Thundercats, it doesn't actually look like they have him. No, they're just grouping up and moving as 4/5, preparing themselves for any potential ganks that will be coming in. And actually, it looks like Gampod does have a smoke. They ping out. Perhaps they want to smoke right here where they just pinged out, and looks like neither team really popping them just yet. Now we see the smoke happen. Thundercats are going to go ahead, go for the wraparound in the jungle. Not sure if the Discoverers have any idea what's going on, but Killer, Countswabber, and still Sin the Button are in a pretty bad position for this smoke. They're going to smoke up on their own. Now, which way do they go? If they turn right, they could be in a lot of trouble. If they just keep going straight, and this is going to be a complete dodge. Savage might reveal. Lee might reveal. In fact, they both reveal off each other. They know what's going on. Or do they? I'm not actually sure if they realize what just happened there. It looks like Discoverers are going to do a complete 180. Now they walk headlong into the Thundercats. It looks like the Global Silence coming out a little early. They haven't been able to do too much with it now. Thunder God's Wrath flies out. They've got a Supernova. It isn't taking much damage, so it will go through completely. Gampod now going for the Course of the Silent, but they've got the BKB out. If they bring Countswabber down immediately, this could be huge. They will. Even though the Global Silence is already off, that not having to worry about that Intelligence Stolen is huge. Now Badass Turtlesque, he's going to go down. There's going to be a freezing field, but it's not going to last as Snarf just decides to lay into him. But now I'm going to Starve, going for the return kill onto Snarf, taking a lot of damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can he send him out the door? He will! Aegis getting popped, or at least the Reincarnate. And now Savage, he's got the Evans Halberd on him. He can't chase. The Bash comes out. They do enough damage. Or do they? They will. Not going to Starve. It's actually Stin the Button to get the kill there. A wicked 6 spree for the Phoenix. And a 5 for 2 is what it ends up being when all is said and done. 2,300 gold going the way of the Discoverers, and close to 8,500 experience. What a hell of a fight coming out for the Discoverers. And Thundercats have got to be kicking themselves out for that one. I mean, started so well, and then they just lost it so hard. Ran into almost a brick wall as soon as Now I'm Gonna Starve decides to just start laying into them. And the Silver Edge proving to be pretty good for him, but in general, he just had an amazing positioning in that fight. And even though the Discoverers dropped so much, or sorry, the Thundercats dropped so much out onto Cotton Swabber, it just didn't end up being what they needed it to be. As him going down, he had already dropped down the Global Silence, so that was pretty useless. And even though his damage is amazing, his team still has a very massive amount of damage as well. So just some crazy maneuvers coming out from the Discoverers as they take a really solid couple of fights here as we approach the late game. And just in general, I mean, I wouldn't say solidify their position in the game, but give themselves a workable lead to just boast, maybe try to expand off of. They want to go for a Roche, they can go for a Roche. If they want to try to push towers, they might find a little resistance, but I'm pretty sure they could win a fight at this point. And all their ultimates are up too, so taking a Roche fight is almost natural for them. They've got to be careful of the Winter's Curse, though, as it looks like Badass Turtlesk is going to go ahead and try for this one. He goes in to the Chilling Touch here, and now Gampod, he actually gets brought down immediately. Arctic Burn out of there. There's the Winter's Curse, but there's no one really around to follow it up. They've got the Lightning Storm. Can they bring down Cotton Swabber? Again, he's dropping very low. Savage almost going immediately for him. He's still alive, but a Snowball comes through to bring him down. All three of them in said Snowball. Snarf. He's diving in. He wants Killer. They've got Savage closing in on him too. Goes for the life group break on the creep to find that extra little bit of movement here. And as Now I'm going to Starve almost immediately bringing down Horonica Pack on the back lines. Savage just trying to lay into him. He's got a Silver Edge, so he can break that as he wants to. He'll go down into his Reincarnate. He's left alone. Goes into Silver Edge. Do they have any way to detect him? It doesn't look like it. He'll get away. But the Winter's Curse, on top of all they had, now it seems like maybe letting Cottonesk or Cotton Swabber die isn't going to work out best for them. I mean, the Wraith King did a lot of damage there, but as far as the utilization of the ultimates go, it didn't seem nearly as clean. And I guess a lot can be attributed to the fact that that fight was actually initiated and done very well by Mr. Badass Turtle Esquire. So, well played to him and co. They had a very good Roshan engagement. They're actually going to get Roshan off of this one. And now a free Aegis for Snarf, and a little bit of comeback change to spend for the entire Thundercats squad. So coming about the 45-minute mark, we're officially entering the late game here. And as far as late game lineups go, I don't really favor either one. They've got very similar drafts in what they were intended to do. And though I will say Silencer does scale indefinitely into the late game, there's scaling indefinitely and there's being able to utilize that scaling indefinitely and turn it into something majorly useful. And Silencer is great, and if he can sit and right-click for the entire fight, great. But right now, he desperately needs a BKB, and I'm not totally sure that that's anywhere really on the menu for him. I mean, he's got 1,900 gold. He's got to decide what he needs to go for next, and though he's got the Null Talisman in his inventory, I think they almost need to pass the baton to him and say, yo, we've got the Wraith King, he'll back you up, but you're our carry now. I think that would be the smart thing for them to do, because if they do that, and they can get him up, you know, with the MKBs and the BKBs and turn him into that right-clicker carry, then he'll be able to do something with that scaling indefinitely. But as long as they leave him as a squishy, vulnerable support, then he's not going to be able to make too much use out of the kit that he's building for. So there's a lot of importance, I think, riding on this Silencer as a hero, and I almost imagine this is what their draft entailed. He was going to be that mid-game fighter, but they also want him to scale. Well, now give him the room to scale, and I'm sure good things will come. So they'll continue pushing in here in the top lane. The Discoverers, they don't want to let go of this lead they've accumulated that quick, but there's a Satanic finish onto Savage, and I gotta say, the amount of farm that the Thundercats are able to do on the cores alone is amazing. Now, their other three heroes are kind of suffering, but Snarf and Savage are maintaining a very high mark on the net worth chart, whereas the only one really with a good net worth on the Discoverers is Now I'm Gonna Starve, and they really need Cotton Swabber to get up there. But again, that's a broken record. I'm reiterating the obvious here, and looks like we might see another fight break out soon. The bottom tier 2 tower is going to be the venue. Now, there is an Aegis, again, on the Snarf, so he doesn't worry that much. Is that... No, it is not a Global Silence just yet. Here comes the Global Silence. Snarf. It actually catches Savage way out of position. This isn't the Aegis onto him. He'll go down immediately, caught with his pants down. No follow-up from his team, and now Snarf might be in a similar position. They've got the Winter's Curse, but it's outside of the range of Cotton Swabber. They're going to snowball into him. They want to bring him down, but in comes the Supernova. They're all dropping like flies, and Cotton Swabber is just soaking up all of this much-needed intelligence. 34 is what he'll finally steal. 36 after Esquire goes down. No, he gets to teleport out, but a Pyrrhic victory as it's 33-20, 47 minutes in. And the Discoverer is taking one hell of a team fight there. This is what happens when your Silencer stays alive, and though I can't attribute the entire fight to him, that was a huge amount that he just did there. A massive, massive amount. So Thundercats gone from this for 20 seconds just about. They almost, by principle, lose this top tier 2 tower. They lost their Aegis, they lost 4, they lost almost every little bit that they could have to take a even and almost successful fight. Now they gotta take a little bit on the back foot here and really put a lot of thought into what their next move is, whether it's really trying to put everything into shutting Cotton Swabber down and just not making any mistakes in your next fight. And they, again, make a checklist of the things that you can't do. Like, one of them is letting Huskar go in with a Global Silence still up and no way to follow up on him if you can't cast spells. And that comes with a lack of BKB on the Hyanika pack, which isn't, you know, something that you can really talk down about because it's not something that you really see, but he's the only real distance closer aside from Huskar. I think if you really want to succeed at this game, get a BKB in Winter Wyvern. I'm dead serious about that, and find some way to make it so that he can get the Winter's Curse off whenever the Huskar goes in. Because the longer you can lock down these Radiant cores and the longer you can get Cotton Swabbler out of the fight, the better chance you have at actually succeeding at winning that fight. So I almost want to find some way to get rid of that Global Silence. If not, bring him down before he can get the Global Silence off. Which, if he goes for something like a BKB, would be damn near impossible.
The Radiant got one last top tower.
So mid lane, it looks like Killer. He wants to do what his name implies. Force-stabbing out the splitter. If they've got the Eul Scepter up, he might be in a little bit of trouble. He's looking for that last lightning bolt, but he can't get it. Snarf will go ahead and bring him down with lightning of his own. And it looks like Gampod will get himself away from that one. A very aggressive maneuver coming out from Killer. Almost too aggressive there. Kind of an awkward play by him, especially being so far out without much vision to either side, up or down, or anywhere around town. So that's kind of one of those things that you got to look at and say, maybe we shouldn't do that again. Arctic Burn to take away the Illusion Rune. Deny that. Deny Wraith King or Cotton Swabber access to that. What are we seeing? A Shiva's Guard from Silencer. Okay, armor's good. Armor's alright. I'll take it. Still kind of leaves a little bit to be desired, but I mean, that's a whole lot of intelligence that he's getting from it too, right? So an extra 25 or so intelligence. building into damaged armor pretty good. And we'll see what he does right now. 220 raw damage with about an extra 160 or so. Pure damage on top of that. I'll take it. Still very good damage. He's got, again, got to be careful he doesn't die in the fight. The Shiva's Guard, as well as a 16 charge magic wand, will pretty much guarantee that. I almost imagine if they play this one correctly, he shouldn't have any trouble. They just can't let him get caught in a Winter's Curse with Wraith King nailing down on him, or things might get a little dicey. So smoke up, coming from the Discoverers. Looks like they want to try to seal the deal right now. They make their way up top. Smoke might break onto Gampot. He goes into Vendetta. And he's actually going to reveal this smoke without revealing himself. Do they have any dust? Do they have any way? They do have a sentry ward. The smoke gets revealed, but they don't think to put it down. Instead, they're going to let this happen. And now, Thundercats are all the wiser about what's going on in their high ground right now. And they back themselves off and they turtle on the high ground of their own base. And they don't give away anything right now. Very smart play from them. Very heads-up play from them, allowing Snarf to continue farming up top, making use of all this space it's created from the Discoverers unable to solidify a gank off. And how are we doing for Roshan, by the way? It looks like it's going to be back up in about 10 seconds. That is post-random timer, and that's, what is that, 45 seconds after the... Yeah, after the original 8 minutes, 45 seconds, a very quick spawn on that Roshan. Very good for them. Or for the Dire, rather, as they're close by for this. In fact, yeah, Rosh will be up. They can instantly take it right now, and I don't think the Discoverers will be able to stop them. If they do that, then they might just have a shot. This is an Aegis, this is a Cheese. They can take a very strong fight off this one. They're going to go ahead and send Gampot up to the high ground. Places down an Observer Ward. Now, it looks like the Thundercats, or sorry, the Discoverers, they are moving into position for this Roche, but it doesn't look like they're moving anywhere close to it. Yeah, they're just farming. They have no idea this is going on. Almost one of those things you gotta imagine they want to try to be on top of right now, because losing a Roche like this gives a chance for the Thundercats to take a really good fight. I mean, if you get this Roche, or you prevent them from getting it, you can take an amazing fight. But if you let them have the Roche, you set yourself up for what could be the game-turning, game-throwing scenario. And you don't ever want to do that. So it looks like the Discoverers are going to actually be caught out by their own jungle here. They're going to pop a pipe preemptively, and they go on at Snarfstar. Bringing him down right now could be huge. Does he have the Aegis? He does. Gampot will go down. Snarf pops the Aegis. He'll be back in 4 seconds. In comes Savage, trying to deal some damage, but Lee goes out with a freezing field. Doesn't really hitting on anyone. Savage has that BKB, taking a lot of damage, pops the cheese, and now, can they bring out 9 going to start? Doesn't even matter. He's got the reincarnate if he wanted to, but he doesn't even need to pop it. Savage will go in. Light break to bring down Lee. Not going to starve, though, continuing to chase. Savage and Starve have no way to escape from this. They're far away from home. Killer goes out, 4 stabs away from the right click, and Starve, even though he's back. For how much longer can you say? Cotton Swabber taking a lot of damage. He'll end up going down. Starve will bring down 2. He's got a triple kill. Can he find a quad here? He might bring down Not Gonna Starve. He brings him down once. He's going to go in to stin the bottom. He needs more, but he doesn't have the mana to sustain it. Cold Embrace will keep him up alive for a little bit longer as he regens some mana with 11 charged Bloodstone. Gets a triple kill. Equalizes the fight. And then that's about it. What a play from Snarf. Just manning up and doing what he needs to do, but just did not have the mana to support that entire fight. Still, great, well played. 3,000 mana. He's got 3,000 mana. Regenning at, okay, I won't say near fountain speeds, but that is crazy. I mean, what can he go from here? Has he ever had a Eul Scepter? Would a Eul Scepter be even good on him this late in the game? I mean, questions he should be asking. How do I prevent myself from falling into a position where I don't have enough mana? And it actually might be a Sheepstick, a Scythe of Ice that he's going to be getting as he goes for that Void Stone. I don't think it's going to be a Lincoln Sphere. I honestly think he's going for that Sheepstick here. Wouldn't be a Yules. Again, I think Yules is a little late in the game to start thinking about picking up a Yules, regen or not. The Scythe of Ice gives you a little bit more, and he does. He outright buys a Scythe of Ice. And we'll be sending that to him right now. I almost want to see what his mana regen is going to be after that. I imagine it's going to be something like 46 to 50. That is absolutely amazing. Yeah, 50. I was close. I had the right second number. I had the right first number. I just had it in the wrong order. So 56 mana regen per second. 3,400 mana pool.
No idea how many that was.
Okay, so a random kill happens. Gampot will go down to Wraith King. Do they have a gem? Do they have any knowledge he was there? Did he just reveal himself in a pretty awkward way? I guess it was the latter, as it doesn't look like there's any real way for them to view him. I mean, they've got that dust, that 2 dust, but it looks like it wasn't popped at all. So the Discoverers are going to go ahead and mount their push on the bottom lane. Meanwhile, Snarf, I mean, he's holding on the Pulse Nova, and it's really not doing anywhere near a number to his mana pool. And this forces a massive rotation to defend this tier 2 tower. It almost, by principle, defends their own tier 2 tower by doing this, and it secures him a ton of extra farm as well. I mean, he's already back up to 1,800 gold, 29,000 net worth at 60 minutes into this game. He's just farming incredibly well right now. I mean, 475 CS. I guess that's on the lower echelon of the CS you really should be having at this point. I mean, if you can mass clear creep waves, I imagine you're going to want closer to 700 CS right now on average. But still, 475 is nothing to scoff at. And given that this game has mostly been, I won't say mostly been fighting because we've had just about a kill per minute, but I mean, it doesn't look like there's been a lot of farming going on from either team, so it's understandable. I mean, we can take another look back at CS and see who's leading the board. I can almost guarantee that it's going to be someone like Leshrac or the Wraith King. Yeah, 488 on Leshrac, 517 on the Wraith King, and neither of them having that real big, you know, high CS count that you'd expect at this point in the game, or not that you'd expect at this point in the game, but that would be perfectly ideal at this point in the game. And I mean, we might start to see them catch up to that, as it looks like this game taking a toll or taking a slow down in terms of the fighting and really focusing on farming and getting many items up and how many items you can show up in the next fight with. I mean, right now, Snarf is effectively 6-slotted. I mean, you don't really want to get rid of that BKB. The Octarine Core is great for the mana and the regeneration. The Sheepstick, same thing. Shiva's Guard, same thing. Hold on, Savage might be in a little bit of trouble here. Now I'm going to Starve is just kind of hitting him time after time. But it looks like now I'm going to Starve might be in a little bit of trouble. Goranica back. They're going to have a Cold Embrace to help him out for a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's going to mean too much. Global Silence comes out. Now Stin to the bottom. On the run. Savage, though, he's turning into man fighting. He's got a BKB. His Inner Vitality is helping him out, but he doesn't armlet toggle it, or at least not fast enough. So he'll go down, and it looks like they'll go ahead and they'll bring down Badass Turtle Esquire as well. Snarf dying in almost record time there. And just like that, one small out of position Tusk turns out, or sorry, not, yeah, Tusk turns out to be a complete and utter near team wipe. The irony being, Tusk is the one that survived there. But this is most certainly a tier 2 bottom, potentially even a tier 3 right now. That was one incredible fight being taken by the Radiant right there. Discoverers poising themselves up and showing that they're a dominant force to be reckoned with. And just like that, they make their way up onto the high ground, showing no fear at all, baring all of their teeth, and saying, "Get me if you can." They're going to lay into these racks. There's not much. A buyback comes out, but Savage is going to be a little bit late for him to do anything. Haramika Pack just get hexes up immediately. In comes Snark, in comes Savage. What can they do? There's going to be a Winter's Curse. Savage now, they've got two-man and Pale, but can Savage do anything about it? He's taking so much damn damage. They've got these Thundercats Wrath coming out. Gampod will end up going down, but Now I'm Gonna Starve is just going to open up and lay in, or can he? He's just so slow right now. The Frozen Sigil, though, will end out, and Now I'm Gonna Starve is on the run, but Snarf is well equipped to try to chase him. He's got a Shiva's Guard if he can catch within distance. He's going to turn around, though. Hellfire Blast, in comes the Life Break. He's got the invisibility from the... hold on, he's going to go down once. Do they have anything to save his life? He starts to run away. In comes Supernova. They want to focus the egg, but can they focus the egg? A Hex up. On and Now I'm going to Starve. Cold Embrace on the Savage. A Split Earth comes down. In comes Killer, though. Savage is doing what he can, and he'll turn around. He'll bring down Now I'm going to Starve. That's 1,294 gold from the Wraith King. Lee, though, will unleash with the Freezing Field. It does nothing to Savage. He'll turn around and bring down Killer. The racks go down. But that's a hefty fight going the way of the Thundercats.
Dyer's mid tower.
And Savage getting so much from that. 4,000 gold in total. At one point, getting a grand lump sum of 1,300 Snarf. So much as well from that fight. He's bought something. He's bringing it out to him. That's a Boots of Travel recipe. He actually got 5,000 from that. He got the Boots of Travel recipe and another 3,300 on top of that. What a sheer amazing amount of gold coming the way of this Leshrac right now. So in comes a level 2 Boots of Travel. He can effectively be anywhere at any time he wants to. And he'll go ahead and push in the bottom lane. Now he does have to be careful. He isn't invulnerable. Though a BKB and a Boots of Travel out is definitely helpful. I mean, I don't think you want to be spending BKB charges for that. And he gets himself up to the top lane. He'll just continue to try to farm out these lanes like he has been doing so effectively right up until this point. And really, farming for him has become almost a redundant task as he's got 4,000 gold. Where does he go from here? I mean, a pocket refresher doesn't do... Okay, maybe it does do jack for him. Holds in his inventory, TP back after using Hex or Shiva's, come right back in the fight. I don't know. Maybe you TP in, you die. Or Suicide, go back, pop a refresher, TP back in, do whatever you need to do. Double BKB, double Sheepstick. All that jazz. Maybe a refresher is where he goes from here. Maybe go for the 7 slot items here. In Wraith King, he's also seems 6 slotted, though a refresher might be a little bit more potent on him. Again, a double BKB, a double Abyssal Blade. Moonshard, he's got it. He's already 7 slotted. So yeah, needs to go 8 slotted, carry a courier around. Have that Refresher's Orb, have those Necronomicons, you know, everything that you can get that you can just shift on, pop, take off, and continue pushing that way. I mean, that's one thing, by the way. If you want to get good at this... Okay, not if you want to get good, but if you want to get cheesy at this game, to learn how and to smooth your transitions for 7th and 8th slotting. Because things like that could mean the difference between winning or losing, especially in some of these fights. If you can have Refresher's Orbs, if you can have things like that, you can effectively turn the tide of a fight almost immediately. So it looks like another Roshan going the way of the Dire. I think it was like their 4th or 5th Roshan. I guess it's their 2nd cheese, so it would have to be their 4th, but that's still a really good little bit for them to pick up. Having every Aegis, he actually gets rid of his armlet, which is an interesting maneuver, but I think he just rationalized that he's got enough strength, he's got enough damage for right now. He needs that Aegis. Every single fight that he's been in, they've been giving the Aegis to the Leshrac, and the Leshrac does well with it. I mean, that's not exactly what he needs. He needs the Huskar to go in and just be a frontal force. Be your all-out assault. And then let Leshrac do the cleaning up. So it looks like Silencer's going for a Refresher's Orb. I'm not going to say I really like this item, but I can say that for its purpose is alright. I do firmly believe that I still think he could use a BKB, but a Refresher's Orb is going to allow him to get that double silence off, which could make or break a lot of these fights, especially as Thundercats have BKBs. You can Global Silence to pop their BKBs and then refresh in GA again, or GS again. Then there's your silence right there. You've just done it. So now I guess even though they've got BKBs to counter this Global Silence, Silencer is still going to have the silence available to put on them. He buys a Refresher, needs about 400 gold for that buyback, but that's still a pretty decent item. Gives him some raw damage. Doesn't give him any real intelligence, but at this point he doesn't need it. He's still in 48 intelligence right now. So he's looking really, really good in terms of that. Doesn't actually need to build any more intel items or really attack damage items right now. We've got Snarf looking like he wants to try to engage in here now. He's going in 1v4, gets hexed up immediately, but in comes Savage doing what he needs to do, going right on in. Global Silence comes out. Number one, Snarf's going to BKB, but this Refresher Orb isn't out just yet, and Cotton Swabbler, he's going to actually go down because of this. A freezing field hits the ground. Snarf taking a lot of damage. He'll go down. Savage still hasn't used that Aegis, but he's turning out onto Killer, and doing a lot of damage to him, but now getting surrounded. In comes the support. Now I'm going to starve. Does still have his Reincarnate. Sending the bottom, though. He goes in for the Winter's Curse, but is able to get his Phoenix, his Supernova off. And now they go out onto Now I'm going to Starve. Taking a lot of damage. His Reincarnate's going to pop. If it pops, now he's in a little bit of trouble. They need to bring him down a second time, but they should have no trouble doing so. Just lay into him. That's a 4 for nil. Okay, I guess a 4 for 1 as Leshrac did go down there, but that was a really good fight for the Dire team there. And I mean, Silencer, he had that Refresher's Orb. It looks like he has. I guess he just put it onto him when he went back to base, but that would have been incredible for him to have there, and not having it is a pretty big problem. So, as it stands right now, Dire can go ahead and push and take some objectives. Now, there are 3 buybacks available on the Discoverers, and they can very well force these out. Or they could just go for the safe objective and go after the Tier 2. But they spent an Aegis for that fight. I think they're damn well going to do whatever the fuck they can to try to make it as potent as possible. So they'll go ahead, push up onto the high ground, Killer, doing what he can to defend. Now he's got the Chain Lightning, so he is drawing his creep wave back, but Snarf doesn't really care about the creeps anymore. He wants a Diabolic Edict, he wants his own right-click damage. Havage is up top, he goes in the Killer, but a Eul Scepter stops the aggression. Does still get stunned by the Snowball, and Killer will go down. That's 100 seconds without a buyback on your Zeus. Savage taking a lot of damage, will have to pop a BKB just to secure his escape. Well worth it, though. They bring down the Zeus, they don't get a Tier 3 tower. Are they close to getting... They could probably get a Tier 2 if they really, really wanted to, but it doesn't look like they can go for it actually anymore, as Now I'm going to Starve has made his way in. But a really good series of fights now coming out from the Thundercats. And they very nearly get a Rax of their own, which would have been amazingly huge in this game. So, in the end, it appears Thundercats are not out of this one just yet. And I think the important thing here is, like, who's got the buybacks, and how can they maneuver them to turn fights? Let's look at the graphs right now. I mean, it's pretty much even right now. In terms of gold, that is. Experience, you know, Discoverers still have well over a 20,000 experience lead, but gold, farming, it looks like both teams are doing quite even, and almost could be Thundercats getting ahead. Conswabber taking a lot of damage here. He goes down. This could be big, but it looks like it's just going to be immediate TP out from Snarf. GoPad or Compad, Gampod, whatever is going to be is going to be the casualty of war for that one. 80 seconds, no buyback, but I think he's all right to sacrifice his life for Snarf. Ideally, You don't want anyone to die there. But sometimes that just, you know, doesn't happen. Dota's not a game of ideals. Dota's a game of making the least mistakes possible and doing your best to capitalize on what mistakes you can recognize your enemy making. As elegantly put by myself. Snarf, again, doing what he can to farm up. It looks like the Discoverers may have been having enough here. They barrel down mid, but I'm not sure this is the call here. They push up the high ground. Now I'm going to take the full brunt of this damage. I guess they realize at this point that now I'm going to Starve is mostly living through these team fights without having to pop reincarnate, so maybe try to start a fight by forcing the enemy to bring him down once, I guess, would be the big thing. Do they have any way of burning his mana before he reincarnates? I'm not quite sure they do. They're going to preemptively pipe and push the high ground. They bring down the tower. Now, if 2 Thunder Gods Wrath comes out, they've got the Winter's Curse out, and Killer's taking a lot of damage from this. He'll go down. They've got 2 Global Silences, though. The second one comes out. Savage taking so much damage, he can't man-fight. He'll go down 106 seconds, but he does have buyback. A buyback also comes out from the Tusk. They both end up buying back. Gampod will go ahead and get a 2-man Impale stun out. Snarf doing what damage he can, and he's doing a hell of a lot of it. Now I'm going to Starve, taking so much. He has no mana. He just goes down 110 seconds. Sid in the bottom. He's also on the run, but Savage, he'll go in with a light break, gets the slow off, and Icarus dive to back him out, but Snarf comes in with the Hex. Thunderstorm comes out as well, and Lee as well as Stint in the bottom, or Button, or whatever. He's just going to go down. Maybe not. He's running away. Snowball comes through, and it will connect just barely on the end. 1 buyback, 2 buybacks, 3 buybacks. Come on. The Discoverers, they want to hold on to this game. They had such a huge advantage for a long amount of time. Throwing it right now would be absolutely devastating. Snarf, speaking of, he's got a BKB, though. He's going to turn on the Conswobbler and unleash onto him the fury of 1,000 split earths. They've got the Shiva's Guard. He's just laying into him, and he'll bring him down. Snarf will get the killing spree. Doesn't get the extra kill on the lead, but it doesn't matter. A buyback comes in from your Phoenix, and that'll be enough for Snarf to back off for a short amount of time, or at least until his team pushes in through the mid. He wants this tier 3. An Icarus dive comes through, and he takes a little bit of damage from that. And it looks like Thundercats, they're going to go ahead, push up the high ground in the mid, which is going to give space a little bit for Snarf to maybe push up the high ground up top. But it looks like neither one will be truly and wholly the case. As I don't think Thundercats are in any real fighting shape right now. I mean, half HP on Snarf, half HP on your Nyx Assassin onto Gampod, so 75 minutes into this game. And I can go on a little anecdote right here because I feel like we got a little bit of time. I mean, I won't lie, I've been doing replay casts for the past week. And usually when people send in replays, they send in those epic 75 to 90 to 2-hour long games of like techies, you know, turning the game around, or anyone turning the game around. And I won't lie, I enjoy watching those, but it's funny because I cast this live game now. This is absolutely live, happening as you're watching it with, of course, a 2-minute delay, but and I still can't escape these 75-minute epic turnaround games where just hearts pumping, minds racing. What's going to happen next? I don't know. I couldn't predict the winner of this game if you paid me $1,000 to do so. And at this point, you know, I wouldn't want to predict the winner of this game. I'm rooting for both teams. They both put up a hell of a fight right now. And though I might just be a little bit biased towards Mr. Snarf here because he was the donator for this game, they're all just showing so much heart in this one. This is 82L, folks. This is the atmosphere that you face, where just teams of that no one's heard about. And that's not to discredit these guys, but like, these games can be so amazingly interesting and so amazingly fun to participate in. It's incredible that you can get this kind of thing from what essentially is a bunch of friends picking up and playing Dota in a competitive environment. So, you know, huge shout out to the 82O guys. If any of them are watching right now, or if they watch the VODs of this one, huge shout out to you guys. You are setting up such an amazing atmosphere. And huge shout out to the teams. Holy shit, this is such an amazing game thus far. I'm blown away. I'm literally on the edge of my seat right now. 77 minutes into this one. Though both teams have been taking a step back recently. I think both of them, they're in the same boat I am. They have no idea who's actually commanding this game. The net worth, 77 minutes, and is within 4,000 gold. Within 4,000 gold. Experience, okay, it's 10,000. Back from the 25,000 it was. This game is so damn even now. Of course, you know, Chicago TED at 77 minutes. Advantages, even no matter how big or small, don't matter. Well, okay, you're right. But for two teams to be this closely matched in both of them just goes an extra mile to say that this game is just... it's unclear. It's a gray fog. It's a gray fog. Both teams in the past 20 or so minutes have won decisive fights and have lost decisive fights. I don't really have many words other than that. This is just the first game of a best of two, too. Like, this is gonna kill me if both games go on like this. I mean, where are we at for time, too? We're sitting damn near 11 o'clock right now, EST. These guys have got to be thinking to themselves, holy shit, can this game just end? Come on! Makes for good viewing for us, though. Almost imagine at this point I should get like I should get that soundboard, you know. Maybe I could get featured on the front page of Reddit by doing some Eminem or play some Game of Thrones right now. Just hype up the atmosphere. Though I'm pretty sure if you guys are feeling anything like I am right now, you don't need the music. You don't need the gimmicks. You just need this game right in front of you, sharing it with me right now. So happy to be given this opportunity to cast this one. So, as stated, BKB finished on the Zeus. At this point, BKB becoming a core on almost every hero. Crystal Maiden finally finishing her. She's got the 10-second BKB charge. Silencer, since picking up that refresher, hasn't really gotten anything else, though. He is far from 6-slotted. His net worth is looking pretty good for a hero who... I mean, I guess that makes sense that he's not 6-slotted with 20,000 gold, but... he's going to be wanting to pick up a couple of extra items soon. Again, those BKBs, you know, changing those treads and the boots of travel to add that extra slot. I mean, 4-stabs are imperative, but it's almost at the point where you want to say, okay, put a 4-stab on a lesser farm priority hero, like maybe your Phoenix, drop the Tranquils for a 4-stab and grab boots of travel himself, and that and just keep picking up carry items. Again, the MKB would be so damn amazing here. And not just an MKB, there are tons of items that would be so damn amazing here on the Silencer. Looks like the Thundercats might not give him the chance to continue farming out this one, though. They're saying, we want to fight now. They begin their slow siege, maybe looking to try to draw the Discoverers outside of their base, as taking a high ground fight right now, or going up the high ground, is almost suicide. And, I mean, yeah, that's the general feeling of this game. They'll back themselves off. Meanwhile, Looks like Thundercats will return Discoverers will return the favor, pushing down the mid lane on their own. Will they be able to find a pickoff here, though? Gampod might be in a little bit of trouble. Blinks himself away. Badass Turtlesque could also see a little bit of hate, but he gets himself away as well. Force Stabs, Glimmer Capes, Blink Daggers. Amazing at this point in the game. At any point in the game, really, but it looks like the same thing the other way around, except the pipe gets popped, and maybe we see them go up onto the high ground, try to take a fight. Now I'm going to start. Might be the one to lead this off. Is he going to blink? No, but he's going to go up anyway. Gets up onto the high. Killer's there with him. 4 stabs up ahead. They've got this Hex onto Snarf. In comes Savage, though. One Global Silence comes out. Does he have Refresher to cop the second one? Looks like it will come out soon. And the second one does come out. Savage getting himself back up to full. He just gets blown down completely in no time at all. He doesn't even have a chance to get off the Satanic. Meanwhile, they've got the Winter's Curse. A buyback from Savage. Immediately gets himself back in. They get 1 kill off the back of that. 2 go down eventually. Now, Phoenix comes back into the fray. It looks like they might actually bring down more here. They're going to go ahead. They get... now I'm going to starve. At least they get him once. Snarf. Dropping low, though. He's got plenty of plus. So he'll come back. I mean, the Golden Brace. It gets him right back up to about half HP, just shy of. And now I'm going to starve. He's got nothing. No Reincarnate. He does have buyback. Only one other on his team does, though. And that is the Phoenix here. And a Wraith King and a Phoenix are not enough to defend your base. Discoverers, what had been such a well-fought game for them for the past 80 minutes. The entire game they fought so damn well. But these past couple of minutes have crumbled them. A couple of lost fights. Call it a throw. Call it what you will. But all in all, it's just been amazing play by Thundercats. Amazing play overall. They'll buy back the Wraith King. Now I'm going to starve and Stin the Button are both back. But 30 seconds before anyone else is here. And it looks like Thundercats might find their first racks of the game. 83 minutes in. So they'll start laying into these racks. Meanwhile, 7 seconds for the Zeus to come back. 14 for CM. 19 for Cotton Swabber. So the racks will eventually just go down. And it looks like Thundercats, they can take this advantage and they can back off with it. These buybacks on the side of the Thundercats have been incredible. Just because of the fact that they can buy back. This is the cool thing about what the Thundercats are doing. And this is what I really like about them. When they have someone with buyback, they almost prioritize them in the fight. They send them out in front, they get them to absorb the most damage, and they give the Discoverers a false sense of security that, hey, we're using all this, but we're bringing down a core. So it's worth it, right? And then all of a sudden they come back, they're fully loaded, ready to go again. And then you're left wondering, well, was it actually worth it to do what they did? And the big answer is, no, it was not. They just lost racks off of it. Now they'll continue. They push up. They want another racks. There is a glyph to be spent, but they're not going to spend it for the ranged racks. They end up sacrificing up. Now I'm going to starve. Now Global Silence does come out, but Savage is able to BKB through it. Now if he dies here, he did buy back in the last fight. He's getting pretty low. They're going to drop down with a Freezing Field, with a Supernova, and that will bring down Cotton Swabber. Now there's going to be the life break out on the Button. But now I'm going to starve. He goes down, reincarnates back on into this one. Starve, bringing him down as well. Savage has survived through this team fight despite having no buyback. And they just return the favor onto Now I'm going to Starve, who in turn has no buyback. 104 seconds of pure and utter despair as the Thundercats are given a carte blanche to completely ransack the Discoverer's base. Will they have enough time to end the game here, or will it go on another 5 or 10 minutes? We'll have to see as these next couple of minutes transpire. But for right now, I can almost assuredly say that this could very much be the game. Savage marching down the middle like he owns the place. He wants it. He really, really wants it. The momentum is everything in series like this. He finishes up the assault cuirass, which means these towers are no match. Spin the button. He gets taken down by a life break. They can't quite seal the deal, but they force him back to the tower. Snarf, snarf. Badass Turtle S. They're going on the tier 4s. It's a classic case. Kills, they don't mean anything. It's the throne that means everything. And even though the last couple fights have been going their way, this is the only thing that matters. Shiva's guard goes out. Stin the button. They're going to go for a freezing field. It's a BKB, but it doesn't matter. Stin the button's in. He's dropping down with a pulse nova, though. He'll go into supernova, but will it be enough? He'll complete it. Killer, he's still alive. Snarf, snarf, those in a lot of trouble. He's getting taken down. He's got 26 charges in the bloodstone, and he's healing up too damn fast. He finally goes down, but he's back up in like no time at all. He buys back, actually. He'll be coming back in. Savage, he's bringing down Killer, but who's really bringing down who? Killer's turning. Snarf's back in. The cold embrace brings Savage back up. 98 seconds without your Zeus, but now I'm gonna starve is already in it. Savage goes in, but there's an abyssal. Now I'm gonna starve. He could bring him down. He will. 130 seconds. No buyback. Snarf on the run. Horianica back on the run. Can they get away? It looks like they won't. 130, and the Leshrac, even though it's only 30, that's a lot at this point in the game. And the Discoverers, they hold on dearly for life here in this game. 87 minutes in. Now I'm going to start. Boots are traveling to the bottom lane. The only lane he can push out fast enough. The rampant pings. They want it. They so badly want it. But can they do it? 1v1. Now I'm going to start against Snarf and Co. That's not a 1v1. It's a 1v3. And he's alone. And it looks like he makes his way up. Is there a glyph? There is. This could be a fruitless endeavor. This could be an almost suicidal endeavor. He BKBs, gets a bash and a Snarf, gets an abyssal. Can he bring him down? He wants to bring him down. Winter's Curse, though. He's dropping so low. He's got no mana. He's down 100 in seconds. 88 minutes in, a suicidal push ends, and quite the disappointment. And just like that, every glimmer of hope that the Discoverers had to end this game right here, right now, quenched within a split second of pure and utter despair. So they have to wait 65 seconds. There's a total of 30 seconds between when the Tusk comes back up and the Wraith King does as well. Is that enough time to complete this game? There's an exposed Ancient. So all the Thundercats have to do is get up there and hit the Ancient and bring it down. But is it too much trouble to ask here? The way some of these fights have been going, only time will tell. I don't think it even matters much anymore, but Roshan, he's still up. Ready to give away his coveted bounty. Stephen J. Pumpernickel. Necronomicon's in the bottom lane. Who even spawned those? Oh, that was Snarf. Okay, went to the bottom lane, spawned his Necronomicons, and went to the top lane. He's got a refreshers as well. Oh my god.
They will not see what they hear.
9 slotted Leshrac. With his 6, the Moon Shard, the refreshers, and the Necronomicons. Another Ancient will go the way. Savage, does he pick this one up? I mean, potentially just drop your Aghanim Scepter for that. I'm actually interested to see what he goes for. There's an Ethereal Blade on the Winter Wyvern. Jeez. Jeez Louise. Roshan taking so much again. They'll just go down. What's this? Discoverers. They're just going for it. They've been 100% on these YOLO plays here. There is a glyph, so focusing down the tower isn't going to work for them. They pop a global silence, but the glyph will go down. Badass Esquire, he wants to get the Winter's Curse off. They need a second silence now, but he won't get it. Split second away from casting it. He'll get it off now, or at least try to. There it goes. Now I'm going to starve. He's in the ethereal form. Turns to fight. There's going to be a supernova. There's going to be a freezing field. Gambot taking a lot from it. Snarf as well. Icarus dive through. It'll bring Savage back. Can they bring him down in time, though? Lee, he's still in the freezing field. Finally ends, and comes the snowball. Hoyatica Pack and Savage, they're still alive. Now I'm going to starve, though. He's also still alive. He's slowed down. He's Heaven's Halberd up. He's now a pig. The pig that can't bite. Now he comes back in. He wants Savage. They go ahead. They get the frostbite. But can he attack it now? He will get it. But he'll go down in the process. Both have buyback. Snarf with a triple kill. Now I'm going to starve with a triple kill. The top racks go down as collateral. The mid racks go down as collateral. 92 minutes into this game, and there still is not a clear winner.
Somebody iced the Dyer's courier.
That was a 3 for 3.
Technical difficulties.
Enough buybacks on both teams to prevent either one from YOLO pushing it down.
Dyer's mid tower could use a little help.
So right now, I'm just at a loss for words. I don't know what to say that would be more telling of this game than what you're seeing right here. What's happening right now? What's going on right here? Right here. This... I'm at a loss. I'm almost just wishing someone just starts a fight so I can just talk about what's going on instead of thinking about what's happening now. This is... what more can you talk about items right now? I mean, we can look at them right now, and I mean, it's better to ask who isn't 6-slotted. I mean, Hoyatica Pack isn't... Okay, fine. Hoyatica Pack, Gampot isn't. I guess you could say Badass Turtle is sort of 6-slotted. Stin the Button isn't. Lee isn't. These guys sort of are. Like, 2 players from each team, give or take, are not 6-slotted. Jesus. This... I don't know. So let's look at this right now. I mean, I know I'm having trouble, but who wins the next fight, and where does the next fight happen? Well, we're looking at least 5 minutes or so before Roche is back. But 5 minutes on the scope of 94-minute games is not that long, so it could be at the next Roche fight that we see. Okay. I forgot this existed. That is awesome. That could be a game-breaking item right here. What do you have before that? A heart? Does he have anything in his stash? No, he doesn't. Is there anything on the courier? No, there isn't. That, looking at it right now, could be an amazing item for them. Or it could be an absolute bust. I mean, having a Wraith of Silencer, a Wraith of Zeus, a Wraith of Crystal Maiden, and Phoenix might not be all that it's cracked up to be, but we'll have to see. Having an extra 5 seconds of life for everyone. I don't think I've actually seen a Wraith either, so I'm interested. Let's see what happens. They're going to go ahead and they'll push down mid again. Where is our Silencer? Does he have Boots of Travel? He does so. Ready to join the fight if need be. Finally goes for that BKB. And we'll see if it's as effective as it needs to be. But while they're pushing in mid, he's pushing out top just to be sure. Now he isn't going to be in within the pipe. There's a wraparound gank, though, coming in from the Thundercats. They want to end this now. Can they do it? Send the button. He gets slowed up, and in comes now. I'm going to starve. Laying in. Winter's Curse. Killer 370 locked in place with him. But can they bring anyone down? Curse of the Silent #1 comes out. The Phoenix, the Supernova goes down. The Freezing Field goes out. Curse of Global Silence #2 comes out. Now I'm going to starve. Turning around. Looking to bring down Savage. Can they bring him down? That'd be huge. A Cold Embrace will keep him alive. Wraith King goes down. No one else has died. Hoyanica Pack in a little bit of trouble, but they've got the Heaven's Halberd on now. I'm going to starve. Savage getting brought down. Returns the favor on the Halberd. He goes in for Lee. Finds the only kill he can get, but he can't even get that kill. He's way out of position. He's trying to fight. He's trying to win, but he can't do so. Cold Embrace keeping him alive for the time being, but now I'm going to starve. He's trying to lay in. He doesn't have, he's got his Wraith. It pops, but that's all it's going to be. 5 seconds left of Wraith King. 5 seconds left of the Zeus. They all have buyback, though, and it looks like Spin the Button could be next. No one has died except for Gambot. I think it's Gambot. Gampod, jeez. What? 98 minutes? They can't. They aren't losing anyone. Winter Wyvern is effectively doing what Wraith King does with his Aghanims, except better. He's not letting them die in the first place. And it's incredible. Begs the question, though. Where's the Vlads on either team? I want a Vlads. It's such a good late game item. Think about it. Ranged and melee damage and percentage-based damage increase. We're looking at Wraith King. Alright. Who's got 400 damage. Imagine adding another 50 or so to that. I don't know. Buybacks come in.
This might be over.
Phoenix doesn't have buyback. But those 2 buybacks are enough to force the Cats away. They got what they came for, and that's about it. 99 minutes. And neither one the clear winner. Both have an exposed Ancient. Both have 1 full set of racks and tier 3, relatively unscathed. Alright, Discover is going to go for it again. Snarf, 20 seconds without a TP. Although, of course, I'm not sure Discoverers know that just yet. They'll back themselves off and they'll continue to turtle, farm up what they can. Where's our net worth at? Like, we're sitting 52,000 gold on this Leshrac. He's got 1,000 or 10,000 gold to bank. He could almost just buy a Divine Rapier if he wanted to. Oh, man. Best $5 of my life. Okay. So, we're going in through the mid once again for Discoverers. They want to try to make this count, but every single time it's been falling up just a tad short. They got to be careful this time. Top lane's pushing in, and what the fuck, is that a Juggernaut? That is a Juggernaut. Okay, sorry. But they have an exposed Ancient. The bottom lane isn't pushing it nearly as bad because this Lestrak is being a complete nuisance, sending in the Necronomicon creeps, doing what he needs to do there, so... Zeus doesn't have Boots of Travel either, so he has to be pushing with them or he's useless. And yeah, he's just going to be useless this fight. They go in. They don't have Zeus. Conswobbler, he takes so much damage from the light break out front. He'll go in for Global Silence number 1. Goes in for Global Silence number 2. Savage taking so much damage with the Glimmer Cape. Keeps him alive. In comes the Supernova. Hyanica Pack taking so much. They Yules him up though. Conswobbler, he's doing what damage he can. He's doing so much damage. He's going to bring down Savage alone. And he'll do 80 intelligence for the Silencer. 82. Could this be it? Double buyback, but it doesn't look like Discoverers have lost anyone. Now I'm going to starve. He's got no mana. He's got to get back. If he dies, he's dead. Does he have buyback? He doesn't have buyback. He can't go down, but he's getting slowed up. He's taking too much damage. He doesn't have enough mana for Reincarnate, though, and he'll pop it. Raise the bound. He goes in onto Hyanica Pack, but taking so much the light break drains him. Meanwhile, Dire's Ancient taking damage from creeps, but no one has buyback on the Discoverers. Phoenix, the only one.
Get a load of the Ancient over on the Radiant side.
This could be it. Phoenix buying back to defend the Ancient, but can he do it alone? It's taking too much damage, and within a couple of seconds, that's going to be all of Thundercats descending on them. Savage, he's already going for it. The rest follow suit. And the Ancient. GG.
Looks like Radiant's Ancient is getting stuck.
GG. Thundercats pull off what seemed like the impossible. Then didn't seem very much impossible. Then seemed impossible again. Well played to both teams. Folks, I can't even talk anymore about this one. We're going to go on to a game 2. Stick around, more Dota coming up next.